You're tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
If you know the song, you get the joke. If you don't know the song, ask your parents.
Welcome to the Beatles.
Exactly. Hello, Transformers Robots in Disguise fans, and welcome to another episode of the Transformers Robots in Disguise After Show. Now, we weren't here last week because we were all cooling our heels at San Diego Comic-Con. If you can call it cooling your heels. And so we are doing a double feature today. We're doing episode 17, One of Our Mini-Cons is Missing, and episode 18, Deep Trouble. So we're going to kind of do a high-speed pass for both of them, but it'll be good because high-speed passes is what this series excels at. With me today are Emma the Speedster Fyffe.
Hello, you can find me all over the internet at Emma Fyffe, EMMAFYFFE.
Michelle the Minicon Cullen.
Hi, you can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Cullen.
Megan Lord Megantron Salinas.
Hey guys, you can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin.
And I am Katie Kia Prime Cullen. You can find me on Twitter at Kiaxet. That's KIAXET. I am checking our Twitter hashtag. It is ABTVRID. If you would like to join in, if you have any questions, any fun comments, you may get a shout out on the air. Emma, as always, is checking the live chat. And you guys definitely want to participate today because we have two very special guests. We have writer Zach Atkinson.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
And John Steven Roca, the voice of Springload.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Thanks for coming on, you guys.
Absolutely.
A total blast, yeah.
So you wrote episode 17.
Yes.
And we are going to cover that first. So let's swing right into that. We have Hank back, you guys.
We do.
Yay!
Hank is awesome.
Hank is back. We need more Hank.
Yeah.
You can get us more Hank, right?
I would love to give you one. Yes.
Sneak that in there.
So she is a wonderful human being, teaching Russell to stand up for himself and the concept of paying it forward.
Yes.
Which you'd think after that movie came out would be common vernacular.
Maybe not everyone saw it.
Russell's a little slow sometimes.
It's true. Yeah. It's like, what, 12? What year did that movie come out?
Yes, but with other people
True.
quoting it.
Yeah.
I mean, I never saw it.
I didn't
It's not really a
There goes that argument.
Kind
it's
of
not
a
really a happy
downer,
movie either.
so-
Yeah.
No, it's not.
You
It's
don't
a
wanna show
big
that to a
bummer of a
12-year-old.
Point being
movie.
just the saying, but we very quickly get into what our title is talking about when we have an escape pod crash landing in the junkyard. And it turns out to be Jetstorm.
Yes.
I have missed him.
I just loved this episode so much. I just want to say right from the get-go because it was just this barrage of amazing returning characters.
I know, right?
Not only on the Autobot side, but on the Decepticon side as well.
It was call back the episode, and I really super enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great.
Especially, go ahead.
Oh, I was just wondering, like, when you initially sit down to write an episode, do they tell you, okay, these are the characters you have to include, these are the beats you have to hit? What is the process? Do they just kind of go, okay, do your own thing?
Well, in this particular episode, Adam Beechin very kindly had a bunch of stuff already laid out, sort of a one-page overview of the idea for the story. And I was very fortunate because this was, like you said, the callback episode. They got to bring back all these characters. So I got to go back and be like, oh, so he was in that episode, and he was in that episode, and I could review some stuff. But it was so much fun because, I mean, Drift and the Minicons, who can't have fun with Minicons? I mean, they're Minicons.
Yeah, the Minicons are great.
Yeah.
I have to ask, too, because Roz Mystica01 in the chat says, this episode is definitely the road to El Dorado. In all caps. Were you inspired
God.
directly by the road to El Dorado?
It became the crazy road trip with a giant tank story. That's,
Take tank.
everyone around the office was like, the one with the giant tank.
I
Yeah.
will say that the first time we got the tank on screen, I had a moment of, who is that?
Which character is this?
I totally thought it was a Decepticon.
It's just a normal tank.
And it was sort of in the same color scheme as Hungry Like the Wolf, so I got real confused.
Well, and Uncle PJ as well. So
Yeah.
it's both like, Did they combine? Is this combiners now?
I thought, like, when we actually, because I thought it was a Decepticon at first, and then we pull back and we actually see the size of it compared to everybody else. I thought maybe it was like an Omega Supreme, where it's like a big old vehicle, but he still transforms into a giant robot.
Who is this evil character? Oh, it's just humanity.
No, that's Prime.
Zing! Sorry.
No, that's wonderful. And we have the return of Hypnotoad.
Well, actually, no, he didn't escape.
He
But
did
we're
not
still
escape,
going to call him
But
Hypnotoad
we
anyway.
have the 15-year-old Redditor anarchist, which is Quillfire, because let's face it, he's a Reddit denizen. And we have Springlode, who is nuts. It's always
Thank you.
it's always nice to
Nailed
have a
it.
character. Yeah, exactly. It's always nice to have a character who's not villainously insane, but just completely off of their nut.
Yeah.
Because they're unpredictable. So
refreshing.
Did you do all of the lines at once, or did you get called back in like, nope, you got another episode, come back
No,
in?
yeah, I got called in to do this episode because it was originally supposed to be just one episode.
Really?
And they liked him. They obviously liked. It was very
character.
kind of them to like the character and what I did with it a lot. That they asked me to come back and do a team up, and I was like, a team up? You don't? Yes. What time? Because I mean, I grew up watching all these things, so I'm like, this is such a great blessing to do it, and it's so much fun to come and do a team up. And they put me with Andy Milder, who is fantastic.
Yeah.
And so all of us were in at the same time recording the dialogue, so you get to play off each other, which isn't always the case in voiceover.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's so much fun to play off their energy. And do their
Now,
own.
initially, when you recorded the first episode for this character, did you have a visual reference for it going into it?
I don't think that I did.
Okay.
I don't. I think there because I was shown some early drafts, but I was just working on it on my own, and then they crafted the character. I think that's right, Zach? I don't think we were shown any kind of artwork before we went in there. So I think we just I just created it off that. Yeah.
So-
I mean, the lines are there.
Totally. That's something that we've been saying throughout this whole show on this panel is that the writing it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's very, very strong. So basically,
It's a lot of fun, and it's really well balanced.
Yes.
So it's a blast.
So basically, you had some rough sketches and some dialogue, and they just said "crazy frog" and go.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they said make him as crazy as possible, but he's not mean or he just wants to get to Doratus so that he can find what he's looking for there.
Fountain of Energon.
Right, Fountain of Energon, which we don't know what would happen once he finds it, because obviously it doesn't exist. He's on the wrong planet. He's just completely misguided.
Well,
So,
he needs to go to Florida.
right, exactly. Ponce de Leon and all that. Yeah.
Of course.
I'm just wondering, what does he have a vision problem? Because he keeps questioning inanimate objects, and I'm wondering, is that insanity, or can he literally not see?
I don't know what it's like on the planet of Cybertron. Maybe there's no inanimate things. Everything could turn into something at any point.
Maybe.
So you have to communicate
Fair
with
enough.
it all. I'm
That's
just saying.
legitimate.
Yeah.
That's a very fair point.
I think there's a chance he suspects there are spirits in things.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
But the
And that they
character
have to
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
killed me.
Do you have to do anything in character, like to get into character as such a fun zealot?
It's an eccentric,
Zealot's a good
an
word.
eccentric frog.
I like crazy frog.
Well, the demeanor you see now is how I am on. But when I do these roles, I like to do the crazier roles. I'm kind of known for that. Starting to get known for that because it's fun to play those kinds of roles. And so it's like to me, I have a naturally expressive personality. So to that, it was like go as far as you can go. Awesome. Let's do it.
That's so
Did they
fun.
put any of your facial expressions or mannerisms into the animation for Springload?
I don't want to.
the next thing.
Yeah, the next I'll do that for you right now.
Don't hurt yourself.
Got a little Dizzy Gillespie accent going on. But no, I don't want to flatter myself in that way, but there were moments where I'm looking at it going, I made that face in the booth. I've made that face. So there were a lot of people in the booth, so I don't know if anybody watched or recorded and maybe used some of that, but I don't know. I don't know.
I know the directors do get to go to the record sessions so they can offer their input, especially for any of the physical moments.
Yeah.
So who knows what the director saw and picked up. So.
Certainly have bushy eyebrows. Like
Scooter. Just a shout out to Scooter who directed the episode, and he did a fantastic job. So
this episode was just a ton of fun.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And it was better on the rewatch.
It was.
Because we usually watch them twice just to kind of get it down and then take notes. So this one was like, okay, that was a good time. And then watching it the second time was like, I'm in love with this episode. This is amazing.
Well, it's funny that you were saying, it's a lot more fun to have the actors play off of each other.
Yeah.
It must be fun also, just from a writing standpoint, to like get these two characters who have never met, who have no connection to each other, and they're both their own special brands of crazy. And just see what they do.
Doubt, yeah. They were my favorite part of working on this episode was the road trip. I mean, you're taking these two guys.
Yes.
It is a buddy comedy of insanity, right?
No, it totally was a buddy comedy.
And when I talked with Adam Beechin, I was like, so can I just do whatever with these two? Because we could go some interesting places here.
I think my favorite was Quillfire's clever Shakespearean aside
Oh
to
my
the
God.
audience when they go to go get the tank. Like,
That was
and it's a good
fantastic.
measure for me if something happens to you, dear partner.
Yes.
Back to the action.
I struggle with characters who talk to themselves, but for these two characters, you can totally do that. It makes sense.
So many asides can work for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're watching the hamster running on this wheel here. It's just like, yep, that's how that
No,
goes.
it's so true. I thought it was really interesting too that we had the team up of the two bots who we've seen have had like a chemical effect on other bots. I don't know. I thought it was they could have teamed up very nicely if they weren't both so crazy.
I am kind of happy that Quillfire's effect didn't come into play on this one because it would have been almost too much. Because in Quillfire's episode, the focus was very much not on him. It was on B acting like he was 10 years old and on a sugar
Very
high.
much so. Very much so.
That was a debate we had. I talked to Adam about that. I was like, what will happen if one of the spines gets into Springload? I mean, because Springload is determined and nuts and crazy.
Yeah.
What would happen?
Where do you go from there?
Did we have an answer?
Well, what do y'all think would happen? I'm curious what y'all think.
Honestly, I think it would just about shut him down. I think we'd have the opposite reaction.
See, I almost want to say it would have no effect at all.
I would love to see it have the exact opposite effect and have that make him sane.
Yes, yeah.
That
I
would
think
be
it would make
funny.
it normal. That was my vote, but Adam was like, no, it wouldn't affect him at all. He's so determined.
Dang it.
Nailed
So
it.
focused.
Showrunner says that it doesn't have any effect.
I feel like that would be like giving a stimulant to a small child because everything acts in reverse to younger children's chemistry. That it would just even him out.
Well, what I really liked about
never
this
heard that?
team.
No, I've heard that. I just think it would be really funny to see.
Springload with like a monocle going, I say, we need to make a map.
Doratus, forget that. Let's go to the grocery store. We got chores to do.
Need to go pick up the dry cleaning.
No, like he'd still want to go after Doratus, but it would be much more, have we checked this quadrant?
Yeah.
Let's do some research.
I say, have we headed north?
And I will not go anywhere until I get a spot of tea.
Absolutely become British.
Quillfire, calm down.
I love it.
There's no rush, Quillfire.
Night Chick in the chat says Springload plus Quills equals him thinking he's actually in Doratus.
Nice. That's a good direction.
Oh, yeah,
that
like
would be-
total
that would
yellow
be such a
submarine
fun
trick.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Just utterly blissed out, and even angrier when he comes back down.
Yep.
I was there!
I do, again, another thing I really like about these two particular characters playing off of each other is that this comes not too long after our other Decepticon team up. And out of all of the Decepticons, these are the two that really genuinely believe in the things that they believe in.
They sure do.
Was also kind of useless.
Was there a rhyme or
Well,
reason to
most of
picking
the-
Springload?
Was
Like,
there?
was there? That's
Yeah.
A reason for picking Springload just
Well-
because fun?
I
Poking
think,
the
I think it was the fun
Yeah.
factor. I mean, like you said, crazy plus crazy, win, right? You know, I mean,
You could have opened any of those pods to free any one of them, and it was Springload.
Crazy,
just-
tank, question mark, profit.
yes, exactly.
Although I would say in this episode, you did give him levels.
Yes.
You know, I was able to adjust, which was great because that was direction that they gave me in the booth. Like make him a little bit like adjust, because in the first episode he's just like
Crazy all
yeah.
over the
All
place.
crazy all the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
But in this episode, there were moments. where he had quiet moments, which was so much fun.
You're
to play.
deceiving me. I know it.
Exactly. I mean,
I
because
know
he does come to realize that Quillfire is in fact deceiving him.
Yeah.
He's lying to him. He's like, I don't think you actually talk to spirits. So
Yeah.
spirits would never harm me.
Yeah, right.
And it was nice to see that there is a certain level of awareness.
Yes.
Even in his commitment to his crazy notions of Doratus.
Yeah, those were great. I was so happy when those lines were in there because I was like, okay, good. He's not just going to be this the whole time. There's levels, and you can, and you love it as an actor.
We got to give you a friend for a few minutes. It's kind of nice.
Great. Yeah.
A traveling compatriot.
Yes.
And just the way it went down, eventually this team up would have fallen apart because Quillfire would say the wrong thing. Jetstorm and Slipstream almost didn't have to be there. They just accelerated the process. But eventually someone was going to get burned or poked or something. That whole house of cards would have just...
Yeah, no, Quillfire's not a pilgrim.
No, he's very... He's into other things.
Listen, at least he approached Springload with the correct strategy of this is all about Doratus. They're gonna pillage Doratus if we don't get there first. So,
but I do love the immediate I regret this decision look on his face when it's Springload that he gets out and Springload's like Doratus. Oh God. Okay, I'm stuck with this guy. Let's make the most of this.
I made a mistake.
I immediately regret this decision.
But like you guys say, he has one. Springload just has one mission.
Yeah,
there's not a deceiving bone in his body. He just wants to get to where he's going.
He has one job.
Whatever it takes. So that's a fun thing to play. Very much so, like straightforward.
Commitment for the committed, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
But still nuanced, as you guys were pointing out.
Totally.
And his recognizing B and Strong Arm was like, yes, throwbacks.
Yeah.
We built on this. Yes.
yeah.
I appreciate that.
No, I do too. I mean, once again, I think that was what was so satisfying about this episode in general is that it was an episode of callbacks.
Yes.
And we are acknowledging, we all exist in this greater universe. It's not like each episode is an independent entity.
And speaking of callback characters, let's talk about Drift.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Drift and Jetstorm and Slipstream. I am so glad that they are back.
So
and I am
delighted.
so glad that they're a part of Team B now. I'm telling this to Michelle. It's like, it's kind of like when that eccentric uncle comes in to live with you, and it's not bad, and he can be kind of cool, but it's also like, we don't do things like that around here.
Like, this is gonna be different.
It's just like, okay. And I will say my favorite ridiculous moment of this episode is at the very end when B goes to shake his hand and he just bows. Right up his forehead and B's hand. I'm just like...
I also love that Jetstorm came to Earth to serve Russell.
Yes, of all people. I almost feel like he felt like he could relate more to Russell because that was definitely, was the wheel of morality lesson for this, was that you needed to communicate and that you needed to talk about these sort of problems before you kind of run off.
Yeah. Now, Zach, was that a you choice or an Adam choice to have Jetstorm come back to serve Lord Russell?
Commander
Russell, that's
Russell, yes. Adam had set up the story that way, and so I just got to take it and plus it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, he thinks Russell is amazing. And he's a commander, so clearly Russell knows what he's doing. And of course, 5 seconds later, Russell goes to argue with the giant robot, and his dad's like, "Son, let's not get in the middle of this." Like,
I did really like all of the parts where Russell was trying to argue with Drift.
He's scolding Drift, and it's like, only Russell could.
Right.
Seriously, though, if anyone else tried.
I wrote down the second quote. You have to stop yelling at the out-of-town guests with the really big weapons.
Yes.
I don't know why Drift keeps listening to the tiny grumpy human, but he backs down almost every time Russell goes and just glares at him.
This.
Yeah.
It's like,
that
okay,
is
I'm sorry.
That is one disappointed 10-year-old.
Yeah.
And you're listening to it.
That side eye was
power of
great.
children.
It was.
Yes. The power of small children compels you.
I mean, I guess it's kind of like having, the way that Drift was comparing them in the previous episode is with that, like, oh, those are your pets. And then comes to realize, okay, they're not really pets. But in the back of his mind, he probably still thinks of them as, like, the scrappy dog that's, like, yapping at him. It's like, okay, it's not going to shut up unless I listen.
But it also probably means something to him that Jetstorm left to go to Russell. Because who knows Jetstorm and Slipstream better than Drift? So
they're literally attached to his body a
Yes.
portion of the time. So.
They're very close.
So if he's running off to go to Russell's, like, okay, maybe there's more to this small child than meets the eye. I have to. Every time that phrase comes up, I have to.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Drift is. I'm a huge samurai guy. Like this is. I love this episode not just because I was in it, but I love the character of Drift. I'm a huge samurai fan. Did you watch a lot of samurai films? Are you a fan of them to put the dialogue in there, or did you just kind of glean from your pop culture knowledge?
I pulled some pop culture knowledge, but I also had the advantage of going back and seeing the previous episode where Drift showed up with Fracture, and in that episode you get such a distinction of his personality compared to Fracture's, and how he's all about honor and justice and doing things. He's you do it the right way or you don't do it.
Yeah.
So it was very helpful. And then, as you said, the samurai is sort of the description of the character.
Yeah,
and
the code he has is so fun to watch with Slipstream and Jetstream. Yeah. So
Well, and the aesthetic is also extremely samurai.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like it must be super fun to be on the writing staff and be able to go back, and you already have these established characters. So writing this episode, you got to just dive right into playing with those characters rather than having to craft all of that backstory. It seems like it's more like instant gratification.
It was a huge advantage to have the history behind it and not have to just be like, should we do this or that?
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is who this person is. Just go this way.
Yeah.
Well, and you don't have to worry about introducing a new con.
True.
It's like, we have these two. They're pretty difficult to forget. Go.
And thankfully, because this episode is very populated, so thankfully we didn't have to introduce anybody.
Yeah.
I don't know where we would have put that in there.
Lost. I mean, the last time we had a new character in an extremely populated episode was Clampdown.
Yeah, that
And
was our big
Clampdown-
Decepticon team up.
Yeah, the showdown. I had a phrase for that, and it just gone.
Robot Riot?
That wasn't what I was thinking of, but
I like
yes, that.
Robot Riot.
It's a song.
Bot Blitz. I don't know.
Ballroom Blitz.
An attempt was made.
No more puns on the show.
You cannot enforce that.
I can try.
No.
Anyway.
Gold star, you tried.
Anyway.
So what Jetstorm left over was that he polished the sword in the wrong direction.
Clockwise
He polished it
instead of
clockwise
counterclockwise.
instead of counterclockwise.
Yes.
And Slipstream also acknowledging, well, yeah, that's a problem, but you didn't have to leave.
Yeah.
Did you decide that was going to be the problem? Was that you coming up with, or was
yes,
that mandated?
so in the sheet I got from Adam, it just said, and he left for some reason. You can figure it out. And so I was sitting there going, okay, dysfunctional family, samurai, what do these people do on a regular basis? They clean things, probably. And then for some reason, I was thinking samurai and, martial arts and Karate Kid walked into my head and was like wax on, wax off. And I was like, okay, so you have Jetstorm's wax on, Slipstream's wax off, and one of them gets it wrong, and he's like,
Okay.
So I wanted a ridiculous reason for him to run off. It had to be a ridiculous reason. It couldn't be a serious reason.
Yep.
Because if it's serious reason, then we kind of start getting into abusive family, and
Yeah.
Then it gets a little too deep.
it was kind of skirting that a little bit, just in the feel of it. I don't think it ever made that full leap.
No.
It's like, wow, if we'd made a left turn here, that would have been a... whew.
Yeah.
I never got that. I always got the impression, at the second Drift showed up, I got the impression that, like, okay, clearly he's making a mountain out of a molehill.
Yes.
At first,
absolutely.
when he's just run away, it's like, oh, okay, what did he do? This could be really serious. But then the second Drift shows up and he's like,
why did you leave?
That's when you know he's making a big deal out of nothing.
Yeah, I
and
agree with you, Megan.
Russell's immediate misunderstanding was, he kicked you out?
Yeah.
Because everyone
Right.
knows Drift as this really strict, persnickety character, and so it's not too much of a leap to go, oh my god, you made a tiny mistake and he kicked you out. Yeah. And we don't get to, I left until about mid-episode.
And I think that based on the previous episode we saw with these characters, it is perfectly justified that Jetstorm would think that because he made this tiny mistake, he needed to leave, because we've already seen how sort of narrow-minded, committed Drift is to honor and tradition. Like, he's a samurai.
Well, and it's a big thing in certain cultures about saving face, where like the whole motive was like, I'd rather spare us the embarrassment of you dismissing me. I thought it was easier to just go. That way, you know, in his mind, he's like, Drift didn't have to lose face.
Totally.
And Drift is just like, you're my child and you ran away from home. That's why I'm so upset. You left.
You didn't use your words.
You didn't use your words.
You didn't leave a note. You didn't text me. You didn't
No note, no call. I had the neighbors looking for you. I called the police.
The least
you
you
were
could have
hanging
done
out
is
with your friends
post it on your
Earth.
Facebook page.
Update your status. Is that too much to ask?
Running away.
Let me know you're okay.
Running away. Tagged location Earth.
But I feel like at the end, to kind of wrap it up, and again, the wheel of morality and the lesson for the kids is Drift saying, no, I was more worried about you running away than I ever would have been you making a mistake.
Yeah.
Mistakes are part of learning, and we need to learn to communicate because this is obviously an issue. And by the way, we're staying with you.
That was probably my favorite part. Was like, we're not leaving.
How to see you go. We're not going anywhere. Say what?
Clearly we can learn from teamwork, so we're going to stay and hang out.
I learned from you guys. Like, okay,
I think that's a big
someone
move for
freshened
Drift.
up the spare room.
I love that. That's how the end of the episode ended up getting. Adam was like, and he's gonna stay, and I was like, really?
That's got to be really fun too to know that like stuff that you're writing affects the series going forward.
Yeah.
It is fantastic to be able to be a part of the bigger picture. I mean, it's like you get to come in sometimes and hang out and throw in a joke, but then it carries on, and you're like, oh wow, I didn't know he was going that direction.
I'm super happy that he's going to be regular cast from here on in. That just now we just need Jazz to join up.
I know.
Seriously.
I think Jazz has obligations though, and Drift can just kind of do what he wants, honor permitting.
Yeah, he's a mercenary.
Yeah.
He follows his own schedule. but yeah, no, it'd be great to get like a Reef back on the show. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about anything else? If we pretty much covered it?
Just one other thing, just talking about callback humor, I did really enjoy after Springload was incapacitated, Quillfire having to drag him out of the tank and go, he's got poison skin, guys.
Yes.
It really hurts.
McPlank came back.
Oh my gosh, yes.
General McPlank.
To thwart to basically commandeer the military mission that was going on.
And how great was it that they had Fix-It on the radio waves? Like, I was not expecting that level of planning, but they're getting better at this.
Yeah.
They are getting
I just
so
loved how
much
polite
better.
he was too. Like, I hope he's having a good day. And I mean, carry on.
For me?
He's got it under control.
Fix-It just want friends, you know?
We still need to know what the heck happened to Fix-It.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I have so many
Maybe.
questions after this next episode.
I know, right?
I had so many feelings.
Okay,
feelings.
if we've pretty much covered this episode, we can move on. We'll talk to you guys a little bit about iTunes. Can someone pull up iTunes right now? That would be
I actually do have it up.
wonderful.
Good.
You are ahead of the game.
I'm just on top of it, guys.
Well done.
Yes, thank
Everyone
you.
who has been watching and listening, thank you so much to those of you who have subscribed on iTunes. For those of you who have heard this before, you know exactly what I'm going to say. For those of you who are new to this episode, subscriptions make our lives. If you subscribe on iTunes, if you subscribe on YouTube, if you like us, if you comment on our episodes, all that fun stuff, you're basically telling our producers, we like these people, we want them to talk about giant robots some more. And that's how we get advertising dollars in, and that's how we keep the lights on in the studio, and that's how we get all of these wonderful guests who also like to come in and talk about giant robots because they have written for and voiced giant robots, which is pretty dang amazing. And if you comment on iTunes, you get a shout out like this.
So, 2 reviews I think that have not been mentioned on the show.
We got 2 weeks, yeah.
So, because one of them is from July 4th, which was
Anime
the weekend
Expo.
of Anime Expo, and I don't think we didn't read it. That was a very tired time in my life.
I don't even remember what we talked about.
I don't either. There were
Jan in a pan.
a lot of puns.
Jan in a pan.
Just so many puns.
It was the worst.
So Duxman writes, I did not know that girls like Transformers. That I'm a guy. I think that's really cool.
We did read this
We read that
one.
one. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Well, Duxman, you're still great. And then Soundwave Fangirl says, I love the show. All you pretty fembots rule.
Yeah.
Myself is a female lover of the series. I love seeing more of them. Please bring in Fix-It and Sideswipe's voice actors. We've had Mitchell twice.
Yeah,
who's
we
the
kind
voice
of
Fix-It.
have, and he wants to come back. Mitchell would live on that
I
couch
was
if
going
we
to say, I
let
think
him.
Mitchell would be here every week if we let him. And we would love to have Darren Criss on the show, obviously. And
Believe
it says
me, I've been working on
really,
that.
It really does rule like primes. Another thing, Katie, I love your puns.
Don't encourage her.
I like you.
Always encourage her.
They are amazing. Maze in all caps.
We have
I like you. I appreciate the hell out of you.
We also have a question on the hashtag, and this is for everybody because it doesn't specify. Which Decepticon do you guys want to show up? So this is for you guys included.
If you had to pick another
And
friend,
this is from
If you want another spring-loaded team up, who would you like to see him team up with? And you can draw from anybody.
Anybody.
Yeah, if you want to go old school, we'll allow it.
Listen, I think Starscream.
yes, that would be amazing.
They absolutely know how to use Spring Load effectively.
Yeah.
Right? And Spring Load would
Totally.
get such a kick out of that.
Yeah.
And we're pretty much determined that Starscream's not dead.
Yeah.
Oh,
No body, no death. That's what Prime is.
I don't know.
You guys aren't gonna accidentally spoil, give minor spoilers like Mitchell did.
Oh,
No.
did he?
Minor spoilers.
Oh, wait,
Mitchell.
You're not supposed to do that?
There was a conversation after that, let me tell you.
I believe it's the same person.
Jade Mills, right?
Yeah, Jade Mullins,
I can
which is
read.
at
Oh my
Drummer
gosh.
Girl 456.
She's also a big fan of a lot of our other anime.
She
shows.
is
She's
the person
fantastic.
who tweeted us this week and said, I've started watching Robots in Disguise. When are you guys on so I can watch you? So, hi!
Hi, Jade. But she asks me specifically, what other animal-like Decepticons would you guys like to see? Like, what other animals would you like to see Decepticons based on? That's a really good question.
Because we've gotten so many really good ones. We've
I
gotten,
know.
a wolf. We've gotten a bison. Yeah, we've got some really good stuff.
Octopus.
I would like a fox.
Ooh, yes.
Ooh, kind of a Starscream role.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
I would like a walrus.
I do
good.
wish that our Cthulhu Decepticon that we had the art for had come to fruition.
Yeah, no,
and I
can
realize
we
that's
get that
way
guy?
too dark for Robots in Disguise,
Yeah.
but oh my god.
See, I was on your level, and I kind of went to platypus right away. Because
Yes.
they
That wins right
are
there.
a cool animal.
I feel like a platypus would need to be an Autobot.
Oh,
But
let's
that's
see.
because I'm
I
a
don't know,
Phineas
but
and
they-
Ferb fan.
That's-
So.
And Sky Shimmertail says rhino or hyena.
Ooh, a hyena would be good.
No,
Yeah.
a rhino would have to
Rhinox.
be rhinos.
Scorponok.
And just to address something that's going on with iTunes, some people in the chat are saying that they have left reviews. iTunes takes a little while to refresh the feed,
Yeah.
so we will keep checking it. As soon as your review appears, we will give you a shout out on the air.
Because I mean, if you left a review within the past 5 minutes, I mean, we're not gonna see it.
Yeah, it's
right
not gonna show
now.
up
Yeah,
yet.
next week.
Yeah,
Got
pretty
you.
much.
I would also like an owl. I'm gonna throw
Oh
that
my
would
god,
be
with the
great.
head that goes all the way
That would be
around.
cool.
Let's
Do you
just
guys have
wig some people
anything
right
you
out.
want to throw out there?
Oh, I was gonna say platypus.
Yes. Air high five.
What about you, John?
Has there been a tiger one yet?
Not
I
yet.
like that.
Tigertron.
Tigertron would be awesome.
We're Beast Wars
Yeah.
fans, all right?
Yeah.
That's serious.
I mean,
hurt me
someone's
so
got to
bad.
challenge Grimlock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? He's
Yeah.
gotta be, I know he's a Dinobot, but
Yeah.
it could be something big. Like
It would be
Rhino's
nice to
great
see
too.
another Dinobot, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
It would be great.
That would be awesome.
Sure, right.
We kind of have Underbite, and he is based on a hyena, actually. That is, we saw the concept art for that.
Yes.
So there is that, but yeah, another Dinobot might be a good time.
Pterosaur.
And all of the 80s fans are like, Dinobot team, come
Yes.
on. Yep.
Anyway, we
Yep.
should probably move on.
Yeah,
Yes.
so let's swing into our next episode, Deep Trouble, because we cannot go without puns.
Yes.
Nope.
I love it.
And what was the name of this Decepticon?
Octopunch! Why?
That's the best name ever. What are you talking about?
I feel like Octopunch was kind of a mess.
Okay.
Because we needed, okay, well, you know, he's sensitive to changes in light and energy fields and this and that and the other. Okay, that's a cool feature. And we want an
Yeah.
octopus-based one. Okay, that's a cool feature. And we want a Jewish stereotype for the voice. I don't know why you chose that. I thought we were going with a Christopher Walken impersonation, and I was on board for that, but then it became kind of... that's a problem. It got a little racist. So that was a problem. And then his name was Octopunch, and I'm like, this guy's a mess.
Oh, I mentioned this. I talked about this with Megan when we watched it. Where I was like, if I had a name Octopunch and I happened to have 8 tentacles, I would shout my name from the mountains every time I had to hit someone because it's an action too. It's like this is what I'm doing.
Yes, I would have been on board for something who had a rap sheet the same as the Octopunch we got, who was causing shipwrecks and looting them.
Yeah.
But was screaming Octopunch and punching things. It's like underwater underbite. I would have been up for that.
It sounds like a Pokemon, kind of. So you might as well.
Artillery.
It does sound like a Pokemon.
Yeah, just, and then he could the only thing he'd be able to say was Octopunch. So then by default.
Oh, that would be adorable.
So it was an interesting episode, but I feel like our con was just a mess.
Yeah.
He was really. I haven't been this disappointed in a con since Minitron.
It was for all that we saw, a lot more sanity, kind of, out of the 2 cons in the previous episode. We went back to a crazy kind of. I wasn't really sure what he was about, I guess.
He just wanted to get off the planet, and he's known for causing shipwrecks. Does Cybertron have oceans? I mean, I guess we have Sharkticons, but
I guess they do. The sea, it calls to me.
An ocean on Cybertron may not have water. It may have another liquid.
That is true.
Energon seas. Although that'd be weird.
Oh,
no, that's more Tron. Tron has the energy seas.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. But I don't know. Octopunch.
I love Tron.
Tron is so great, right?
Tron's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I'm very upset.
Me too.
Tell me about it.
I was so upset.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Tron 3 was canceled.
Yeah.
That's upsetting.
I still enjoy the second. I know some people don't like the second one. I love it.
It was so much fun.
It's a
such an
visual
expansion of the
feast.
universe.
Yeah.
Okay, we should talk about
Visual
this
feast.
after the show.
I like
because-
that. Yes.
We're talking about
Cybertron.
I do have to give a shout out to Ted Biaselli, who did voice Octopunch, who was a friend of mine.
Yeah, he was
we
great.
Went to
Yeah.
school together, and he's a cool. It was such a random thing that our episodes followed each other.
Yeah.
Because Ted and I have
That's
known
so
each other
fun.
for a long time, and so
That's
he's
amazing.
over at Netflix now.
Yeah.
He's an executive at Netflix.
That's so rad.
So Tread, I appreciate it, but yeah, I get what you were saying. It was like a Borscht Belt comedian. It felt like that,
yeah,
right?
it
But I
did.
think he was walking that line effectively for that episode. But I also know, but I also can see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't think.
We
sorry.
were talking about it. I think that they were going more for a specific comedian.
Yeah.
But we were
That's what-
kind of
Yes.
like,
Kind of like it's not really specific enough. It's sort of hitting the mark of should this be a thing?
And I would not have picked up that they were going for a specific comedian because I don't know which comedian we're
Right.
talking about.
Yeah.
So for me, that was like, this is uncomfortable. The acting is hilarious. The talking is hilarious, but that accent. I would have gone for a Walken impersonation. That's what I initially
would
thought it
have
was.
been.
I thought we were getting Walken Bot, and I would have been on that 100%.
I don't know if I could have sat through that episode. Like it would have taken multiple times watching it to actually get everything if it was a walk.
Honestly, it's not the first accent where we've been like, what? Because we had Uncle PJ to contend with.
and
Uncle
Mandark.
PJ was, oh my god.
the Mandark voice was amazing.
Ped? Was it his name
Ped?
Ped?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
and
good.
the straight up Mandark voice. So it's definitely not the first time we've had an interesting, verging on hilarious Decepticon choice. So
Yeah,
if
totally.
we had Walken Bot, I would have been totally down for that.
Just a bot that puts the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
The emphasis on the wrong syllable, yes. So we have Octopunch, who's underwater and a submarine, hence the beginning song. We finally got back to that.
Yes.
It all
Yes.
ties together.
Yeah.
In a little bow. Much the same way we tied up Octopunch with his own tentacles.
I mean,
That was interesting.
That's a really good way to take him out.
That was. He was extremely flexible.
Yeah. It was a good call. I loved that when they opened the ground bridge to the ocean, the ocean just came to them.
Yeah,
I did like that happened, that they actually worked with that.
Yeah, I feel like this episode was less about our particular Decepticon and more about everybody in this particular situation.
Oh, yeah.
What Grimm was going through, being at the bottom of the ocean, then not being able to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
I feel like it was more of the circumstances than it was actually focusing on this guy as a main threat.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And because, I mean, a lot of the focus was on them kind of exploring the bottom of the ocean.
And Drift integrating with the team.
Yes,
And Sideswipe. Michelle pointed this out. When Sideswipe figured out that they were going on a pattern,
I was so
I
proud
was
of
like,
him.
wow,
That
Sideswipe did something smart.
was
She goes,
amazing.
well, yeah, he's more than just his body. And I'm like, yes!
Yes. I was like, Sideswipe has played a lot of video games.
It is just call back a clock this week. And I love it. Megan, are you okay?
He used his head.
And Lord Megantron is broken.
Yep. It all comes back.
I'm so happy right now. Oh my gosh.
I hate myself.
But a lot of
move
what
on.
we have working with this episode is the very beginning. We have an obstacle course, and Grimlock thinks that he can run through everything, and that's not the case. And he gets nailed in the side by what looks like
A torpedo that isn't.
a torpedo, or oh, it's that ride at Disneyland that's at the beginning of Tomorrowland with the little rockets that goes up and down.
never
I'm
been to
kicking
Disneyland.
myself.
No,
The Astro Orbiter.
Astro Orbiter.
1.5
that's the
weeks.
one.
It looks like those pods, and they had him swinging because
Yeah.
the obstacle course. So he gets nailed pretty hard
You'll
in the
enjoy
side.
I'm so
and
excited.
spends the rest of the episode hiding this injury because Bee's like, oh yeah, we need you at the top of your game. You're the muscle. Without you, we'd be sunk. And Bee's like, I'm complimenting you. And Grimlock is like, I can never fail again. This poor- So, and more than once, he's had teammates coming up to him. Hey, are you doing okay? Do you need Fix-It to look you over? Are you?
Yeah.
I'm fine. I am not okay.
Oh no. Speaking of Fix-It,
Holy butt.
what happened?
Yeah.
So they wind up on the ship. It's a 4-engine ship, and they have to try and keep Octopunch from Octopunch. They have to keep Octopunch from activating all of the engines. And they wind up split up because the ship's defense system jams their communicators, gets them sent off into separate hallways, all sorts of fun stuff. So I love Sideswipe getting caught with Drift, and Drift wanting to meditate, and then getting angry at
that was
everyone
such a
who
funny
was
scene.
twitching.
Yeah.
So funny.
Well, and Drift's his ongoing thing being, why are we not doing this? And B just going, we're doing the best we can.
Yeah, exactly.
I like seeing Drift integrating with the team.
And-
it's a good first episode for
and-
this for him.
Overall, I think there was a lot of teamwork in this episode. We
Oh,
were
yeah.
seeing everybody integrating as a team and starting to incorporate Drift. So yeah, it was a really good intro episode for Drift being part of the team and for you going, okay, you know what, they are kind of starting to mesh as a team.
Yeah.
And him just kind of figuring it out and then coming back. I'm surprised you didn't ask us why we got you earlier. I assumed you were doing the best you could. Yes.
I do have a question. Since you've written for these characters, when you watch another episode where you're not the writer on the show, do you kind of wonder to yourself, you're like, I don't know if I would have had them play off of each other in that way? Or do you like, that was spot on, that's exactly what I would have done?
Well, to Adam Beechen's credit, he is the one who keeps everything on par, and he knows those characters better than anybody else. And so since he has oversight over everything, it usually plays how you would imagine it would play. And he's very good at what he does. So I give him the credit for that. So it's interesting though, because everybody always has a choice right there. You can make a different decision, but you can't go too far off character because Drift is who he is. He's the samurai, and he's not going to suddenly tell a pun. I'm so sorry.
I'm not. I'm super happy.
Callback humor.
I knew I liked Drift.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So I think we're running a little short on time, so we should probably burn
Wrap it
through
up.
the rest
Yeah.
of this.
Yes.
We
So-
wind up with telling Grim, it's okay for you to be injured. You just need to tell us these things because it puts
Yeah.
you in more danger. We're your team. We care about
Yeah.
you. You don't have to be perfect.
And I liked
Good lessons.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also liked that at the end of the episode, once they were all reunited, when they were all carrying Octopunch away, that, Grim was trying to carry the brunt of the burden, and then Strongarm and Sideswipe took it, and they're like, no, like, you don't
always have to do
You
that.
don't always have to do the heavy lifting. Yeah.
We're your teammates. We can help you.
Yeah. But I do want to...
Let's talk about poor Strongarm.
I was going to say, we need to talk about that real quick
This is
before we
the
wrap this up.
elephant in the ship, such as it
Yes.
is, because holy cow. So they all get split up, and Strongarm's off on her own.
Yeah.
And this army of mini-cons arrives, and they
my
all
gosh.
look like very, very
Exactly
determined
Fix
fix-its.
it.
And her comment is just, well, if you're anything like Fix-It, I just found a whole lot of helping hands.
Yep.
No. They essentially tie her up and throw her in a cell. And it's just, they're all stone-faced and silent the entire time. And it's super creepy.
It is.
Very Gulliver's Travels. Super
And
creepy.
it came out of nowhere. They literally, just a horde of them came around the corner, apropos of nothing.
Exit stage left, pursued by
where did they come
Minicons.
from? Why are they there?
And
Where did they go?
And this brings up something. I'm trying to give credit to the right person in the chat where they said, Timothy in the chat says, was that another prison ship?
I doubt it because B identified it as a vintage 4-engine ship and he would have said it's a prison ship or it's such. I feel like the model of the ship wasn't as important as it's our setting, here's the security stuff we have to go through, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But that was a decidedly creepy moment.
Yeah, but it's like, why were they all there?
And this is also what, this makes me wonder even more about Fix-It. Do they think he's broken because he has a personality?
Maybe.
What happened to him?
How did he become an independent little Fix-It?
Minicon.
Yeah.
Just
Fix-It, don't tell Mitchell I said this. Fix-It might be the most interesting character on the show. Maybe.
You know Mitchell watches this, right? He's gonna come in
Now
next
you've
time.
done it.
Well, I play the most interesting character.
You know, I need more wines. Lines. Don't do that. Mitchell's great.
Good.
Mitchell's
So
great.
good at improvising. Yes, that was great.
You follow the ones that are great.
Yeah.
Mitchell's great.
I think Night Chick brings up a really good point about this whole scene, saying, I will say this. Finding the army of minicons like Fix-It brings question as to Fix-It's role on the Alchemor.
Yeah.
How old is he? Because the ship that's under the water, where there are all these bots that look exactly like him, is supposed to be ancient.
Yes.
Yeah, we did get vintage for that. And they're still operational.
Not to make predictions, but, you know,
Might as well, we're there.
all of the Alchemor, everybody that was on the Alchemor were people that, or not people, bots. That the council was like, just send them away. They're weird. They cause trouble.
Yeah.
You know, and in Fix-It's case, it might be broken.
Yeah.
He's
Well-
broken here. Just go.
And we know that it's been a while because nobody's heard of Nuon City. The only other person who knew who the heck Underbite was Grimm, and he was on the ship with him.
Yeah.
So this really, I've said this more than once, but this makes me think that the Alchemor was out there for a long, long time, possibly before the war. When we had Autobot and Decepticon factions, but before things went insane.
Zach's just sitting there laughing at us.
I know nothing.
I mean, is that about all for episode 18? Does anyone have any final thoughts on it?
Just that was not something I expected.
Yes,
and
yeah.
there are implications there, and I just have a lot of questions. That's
Yes.
all.
Yeah.
I need more about Fix-It's story now.
We all do.
I need those answers. But I was also effectively creeped out by all of the Fix-It suddenly appearing and all of the nano-drones suddenly appearing.
nano-drones
This
were
is an ancient
great.
ship. Why are all of these things just on it hanging out?
Can I say the weirdest thing about that was recalibrating optics? It was just like,
Yeah.
you can do that?
I mean, that's what our eyes do automatically when the light changes.
Not like microscopes.
No.
That's
I
like,
wish they
I'm going to
did.
look over there and see the detail of the
like-
fly on that wall.
The LASIK of the future.
Zoom into the future LASIK.
I think what's great about the show is if you've been watching consistently, you see that they've found their rhythm, and it's like
Oh,
at the
yeah.
beginning.
absolutely.
At the
Definitely.
beginning, it's very similar to Star Wars Rebels. Like the first few episodes, you're like, and it's a little too kid, and then all of a sudden they find the rhythm, and I feel like this show's done that, and they're dropping little nuggets to keep you all talking.
Yes.
Which is great. But like the Fix-It thing come out of nowhere. I had the same reaction. I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, this is kind of scary. And so what does this mean for Fix-It as like, you know, as that character is once you fix it, is he going to be this incredibly powerful?
Yeah.
that
God
we didn't
forbid.
know? And so that's what I'm saying. So that's what I love about the show now is that everything is just like it's feeding into itself episode per episode, and it's a great rhythm, you know. So
Although I would see that would be an interesting just episode for a Fix-It arc, finding out his backstory, being able to fix him winding up like that, and then at the end of the episode getting him back to the way he was. And you know, our wheel of morality is you're fine the way you are.
He was never really broken.
No, he's broken. But having a personality is not a bad thing. Being who you are is not a bad thing.
There is one other thing I would like to bring up up. I know that
Hang on, we're kind of in predictions now. Can we just get the light show?
Ooh.
We've been living in predictions at this point.
And now,
Light
your
show. I love
AFTERBUZZ
it.
TV.
We usually start this at the beginning of predictions. We just kind of
These are awesome.
It's so great.
It's so fun.
Are you enjoying that?
I just think I don't have epilepsy. I'd be
That would cause a problem.
It would.
But
it's awesome though.
actually, what I have is not a prediction. It's
Awesome.
Enjoy your light show.
But it was. I know we've constantly, something we say like every single episode is that we want more references to Prime. We got one. At the very end of this episode, when he's talking to Grimm, he's like, Optimus taught me that you have to be at your best in order to help your team.
Well, see, there you go. Because people in the chat, just one time, we brought up some weird slash fiction things. So now everyone in the chat is like, talk about the Grimby in this episode. And there you go. Megan just did.
Yeah, I think the weird slash fiction thing was in reaction to Mitchell going, oh yeah, I ship strong arm and sideswipe, and the rest of us going, oh, we're gonna Lannister it up in here? Jeez.
Except me, because
Except you, because evidently that's okay.
I can still see it going either way.
I am far beyond the point where I can see them as anything but siblings. So if they start going that way, it's going to be like, and we're going to have little Joffreys, and it's going to be bad.
But listen, people in the chat just ship Grimm and Bumblebee, and I support whoever you want to pair together in your headcanon. It's all, you just do you.
You do you.
Transformers fans.
I love it as a bro ship, but poor B is so clueless. It's like, I was trying to encourage you, and at the end, Strong Arm seeing Fix-It's probe and being like, I'm gonna take patrol.
Yeah.
So much patrol.
Yeah.
Like,
She's
look
so
at her working
dedicated.
so hard. Good for her. It was like,
Yes.
honey, she's traumatized.
Yeah.
You,
That is going to come up again. That's
it has to. It's Chekhov's mini-con at this point. Like, it has to.
So many of those.
So, do we have predictions for upcoming? We have, what, this is 18, we got 26 episodes, we've got 8 left.
Should we talk a little bit about what we saw at the Transformers Robots in Disguise panel as a kind of news and gossip thing?
On one hand, yes. On the other hand, wow, is it spoilers if you wanted to remain unspoiled. On the third mutated hand, China. So,
Yeah.
let's talk about it. If you guys don't want to know anything about upcoming episodes or anything,
Tune out.
this is a
And
good
you
time
don't-
to cut it off.
Yeah, these aren't predictions. This is like
This is what they
teaser
showed.
footage.
Yeah.
We
This
were
is what
shown.
they showed us at San Diego Comic-Con. So it's not like we watched all the episodes at. No, we got a clip, and we'll roll that clip. No, no,
I wish.
Oh my God, I mean
Hasbro.
witnessed. So
we-
if you want to be spoiler free, turn it off now.
I think that was a fair word.
Megatronus.
Yeah.
Holy
Megatronus.
cow.
Yep.
That was a thing.
And we actually had someone spoil that in our comments section
Yeah.
a few weeks ago, which thanks for nothing.
I also like that we got to see Windblade in the
my
footage there. I'm so
cannot
excited. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just news for me right now. I didn't go to Comic-Con.
Michelle didn't get to go to Comic-Con with us, so sorry, spoiler.
Okay.
We didn't tell her, but yeah, no, it looks like our big bad of the season that Optimus has to train to fight is Megatronus, the
Which-
Fallen.
Completely makes sense why they would need to send Optimus back, because if we're going by second movie Bay rules, that only a Prime can defeat the Fallen.
Should anyone go by those
Right.
rules?
Well, we've done the whole thing. The movies exist, and they're the reason we got Prime in the incarnation.
true. So
have,
we
the reason
accept
we got,
them as a thing.
I'll
We
accept
don't
it
have
as
to
a
like
building
all of
block,
them.
but nothing else.
But I mean, that's really exciting. That is some really exciting news, and we, with the exception of Michelle, sorry, but we all got to go to Comic-Con, our guests included. What was your
Yes.
guys? Did you guys have a favorite part of the Transformers panel, since you guys were there too?
Well, I love his entrance. He had the best
Please
entrance.
tell them what you did.
It was amazing.
Please tell them what you did.
Oh man. Okay. I had an idea. My friend Mike Ross was moderating the panel. He also works for Hasbro.
Yeah.
We went to school together as well. And I was like, I'm gonna ask a question, and he's like, what are you gonna ask? I'm like, well, let's just wait till later. I was like, okay. So I ended up being the last one to go up, and I was hiding behind everyone because I didn't want to. Because I had gone up and said hi to Constance and Will and Carrie up there and Mitchell as well. But I was like, I don't want to, And so I kept hiding, but I kept being nervous to ask the question. Then I got up there and I was like, Hey guys, my name is John, big time fan of the show. One of my favorite characters this year has been Springload. Do you think he'll come back for any more episodes? Because he's really great. And Jeff Klein, to his credit, was like, wait, oh! And it became the whole thing, and Constance very kindly was like, that's the voice of Springload, and we did a nice little clap. So it was great. It was a fun moment.
It was cool.
But it's scary because you could be like, hey, no. Now you're not coming back.
Did you ever think about just walking up to the mic and just yelling out Doradas?
Yeah. I thought I almost ended it like that. I was just want to know, does anyone know what Doradas is? But I didn't want to push the limits. But it was fun. But the clip was great.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that was as a fan. Always been a fan. It was awesome to see that, and I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be so much fun.
Yeah.
Also, evidently, his vehicle mode is a tank because they had the toy down at the Hasbro
Yes, they
booth.
did.
Yeah.
Tankety tank. There's a reason I thought that the tank in these episodes was a bot.
Yeah, no.
It's like, you arrived early. Zach, what was your favorite part? Just him?
Well, I mean, that was fantastic. It was just only 10 minutes into the panel, and then suddenly all the actors are challenging each other to disrobe, and I was like, I was sitting there just going, oh no.
That's right.
Thankfully, Mike Ross kept it on
Yes.
Well, it started with, are we giving the audience something? And Constance telling Jeff, because he was wearing this very lovely Optimus and Bumblebee patterned Hawaiian shirt, and her saying, you should give the audience your shirt.
Yes.
And so then it turned into anytime the moderator would start asking a question, he'd go, Carrie, and Jeff would go, take off your shirt. Well, and Constance would go, take off your shirt. So it just turned into take off your shirt.
Yeah.
That was a custom shirt he had made.
I am surprised.
It was awesome. It was a good time.
I'd wear it.
Yeah, if you guys can find it, I'm sure it's the entire panel's up online somewhere.
Yeah.
I
Probably.
highly recommend giving that a watch.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Mitchell and Carrie going back and forth was great too.
Definitely took video of how would these characters be going through a drive-thru?
Oh, yeah.
That was the best. I love that.
In the fine tradition of Steve Bloom as Starscream going through a drive-thru. That's just breaded
It's
veal.
pretty funny.
Should we
Breaded
have
veal.
Springload go through the drive?
Please, send Springload through a drive-thru for us.
Yes.
How would he even be in a drive-thru? And the only thing
He's
he's
Doradas. Just
That's
because
what I'm
I
saying.
need provisions to make it to Doradas.
Can you give me number one with Doradas, please? I mean, it just would all it would be, right?
Yeah.
Steve. Wait, well, I guess what's a good name for a Chip? Chip. Do you know where Doradas is? Do you know? It would just be that, right? It would just be that.
Please pull forward.
Yeah, right.
And then
That would be wonderful. So, where can the people find you guys if they want to find out more or just be able to chat with you?
You can find me at The Rocha Says. That's ROCHASAYS. And I host a couple other podcasts on Geek Nation, Far, Far Away with Tiffany Smith for the Star Wars stuff.
Yay.
And I have she's great.
Yeah.
I have a top 10 podcast that I'm hosting now, Top 10 Movies podcast on the Schmoes Know YouTube network.
Nice.
So,
Fantastic.
we just started a new one. Yuri Lowenthal and I
Oh,
started a new one on
nice.
Geek Nation, and we're just interviewing people who are very successful in voiceover animation
Oh, very
and asking
cool.
them about their life stories and how they got to be on. We just did Susan Eisenberg, who's the voice of Wonder Woman.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
So we
Very
bring
nice.
people in every week. So
Cool.
All right.
Schmoes, where have I heard that?
I'm online at glorifiedlollipoptree.com or on Twitter at glorylollytree. And I just want to also throw out that RID has some shorts that they've been making.
Yeah.
And some of them are original. They're on the official Transformers company site and the official Transformers YouTube, so go check those out. They're lots of fun.
Have there been any new ones since the carjacking one?
There's one with Grimlock trying to use a Decepticon hunter.
Oh, yeah.
And
So cute.
my personal favorite was Fix It Jam, if you haven't seen that
Oh, my
one.
God. That was the first one.
And
So good.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be some more of those coming along the way. So.
Yes. Fantastic.
I
Emma?
can be found all over the internet at Emma Fyffe. Just follow me on Twitter. You'll know everything I'm doing. I'm on Twitter all the time.
Okay, and you can find me on Twitter at Michelle_Cullen.
You can follow me on Twitter at The Menguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz. Write articles for The Movie Chick with 2 Ks, and also check out The Movie Chick quick reviews on Popcorn Talk. Woo!
And I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet. I'm also on Snapchat at Kia Prime. I'm also on the Red vs. Blue after show here. We'll have another one of those in a couple weeks. And I'm also writing articles for the Movie Chick. We're just doing all sorts of things. Thank you guys again for coming in today. You're fantastic.
Thanks for having us.
Yay, thank you.
And thank you to everyone who's been watching the show. As always, transform
And roll out.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Octopunch!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.